think I figured out a way to hack your flow state. So if we agree that entering flow state is essentially having a single priority, a sole task, your mind just locks into that one focus and everything else disappears. It's a very desirable state of mind because, you don't have to worry about what anybody else is thinking, whatever else is going on in the world. Only what is in front of you matters, right? Like whether that be when you're playing a sport, competing, right? Playing a video game, whatever it may be. Maybe it's work. The way to shortcut this then is to only have one task. If you only have one task, you can just immediately jump into flow state. Or I guess maybe that's not as realistic because we all always have to eat every day. We always have to, we all have things to do. But if you can minimize and reduce those to only a handful of things to achieve or to accomplish, or mainly just to focus on throughout the day, I think you can shortcut and hack your way into your flow state way more often. And that's something that I'm trying to work on. And so one of the things for me that takes up a lot of my brain space and my mental capacity is ideas. So thinking about this YouTube video or this channel, like I think about ideas for what I could talk about and what I could post all the time. And then also, since I'm working on another business, I'm thinking about that all the time too. And so it's just this mass amount of information that is pouring into my brain and that is being generated into my head at all times. And so, while I think that's a good thing for business, right? Like you always want to have new ideas, you always want to have fresh stuff. And especially in the world of a creative, that's like the worst fear of a creative is never having enough ideas. And so the reason why we come up with this writer's block, or at least for me that I've found, is whenever I get to a writer's block, it's because I have an overflow of ideas in my head and have never expelled them to allow room for new ones. So that's what I'm trying to do right here. I've been posting a little bit more often, recording more often, just like walk and talk type stuff, so then I can allow more room for business ideas to come into my head. And so that has been extremely helpful in entering flow state for me. Is just hit record, whatever I'm thinking about, just get it out of my head, so that I can start thinking about new ideas, start thinking about new things, whether that be business related or personal related, like this is here. And for some reason it seems to be more so that it's personal related, and I'm just thinking about things that I want to talk about personally and not exactly like content for my business, which is fine. But I think at a certain point it'll balance out, and once I get out all the ideas that I have up here for my own like personal stuff, this personal channel, then I will be able to shift focus, shift gears, and then allocate that time, energy, attention towards the business and generating new ideas for marketing over there in that sphere. So it also, another thing I will mention is that it helps you enjoy the present moment a lot more when you don't have all these ideas in your head just constantly thinking, oh man, I should record about this topic, and then just holding on to that. It's not like it's brain fog or like a cloud above you or anything like that, because it just feels like it's weight, it's baggage, right? It's something heavy that you're holding rather than something being light and clouding your vision. Because I personally, I don't know if I've ever, I probably have experienced brain fog, but very limited instances. I feel like for the most part, I think relatively clearly, and I'm guessing a lot of people think that about themselves too. So maybe that's nothing special, and maybe you feel the same way. But this is something different. It's like I have this idea that I'm just holding on to for so long, and I can't let it go because I think it would be a worthwhile video to create or a worthwhile topic to discuss. And so that way it just keeps sitting and occupying space and storage in my brain, and then I can't move on from it. I can't come up with new ideas because I'm holding on to that idea. And so, like, ideally, I think I'd like to have, 5 million or 500 terabytes of space, of storage space in my brain, and it be on 1% utilization, right? Like, I have all this free space. Like, nobody hates when their iCloud storage, which is at 50 gigabytes, right? It comes up, it gets to the most because you're taking a couple pictures, and then your storage is full, and then they ask you to buy more, right? Unfortunately, we can't buy more storage in our brain. But the way to do that is, instead of buying more storage, you just delete all the pictures. Maybe, well, you don't just delete them, you offload them onto an external hard drive, which is kind of what I'm doing here by posting them and getting them out of my brain and putting it on YouTube. So the idea still lives and exists in reality and not in my head. And then I clear up space, and I can, take some more pictures on my iCloud storage, and I can have new ideas in my brain. So yeah, those were kind of like two separate topics, but the whole idea is, if you have less things to think about, if you have less things to focus on, you will be able to enter flow state more easily, more readily, and kind of like on command. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to do with this. I'm sure there's other ways of achieving that. Like, you could just just start doing the one thing that you want to do to enter flow state. But I find it much easier to be able to even do that one thing in the first place if you have everything else sorted and you don't have a lot of, things on your brain to think about outside of that one thing that you're trying to achieve. So yeah, I think that's it. That's how to hack your flow state. Thanks for watching. See you next time.